Hi everybody, I'm Loren Lukens. I'm here with Don Hall at Don Hall Works. Today I'm going to show you how to do a thrown and altered and decorated vase. This is the one I'm more or less going to be doing. It's thrown, it's altered to square, and it has slip decoration on it. Let's get going. I'm going to start throwing now. I have a little different way of attaching a bat than most people do. I don't have bat pins in my wheel head. I throw a ring of clay, and then with a little bit of moisture I attach the bat to the ring of clay, and that means that any piece of wood is attachable. I like to open with my center finger, backing it up with the other two for strength. Then when I sweep my finger back towards myself for the opening, it's all one motion. Leaving some extra clay on the bottom because I'll use a wiggle wire to do the cutoff. And you need a little extra clay for that. Sort of a centering pull right now. Leave a little extra clay at the top. And let's get going on this pull. There's two pulls, one more and done. Straighten my wall a little bit before I do that last pull. Pretty good. Straighten the wall a little bit more, a little ribbing from the outside. As far as shaping these vases, I think about how they will hold flowers. And they need to spread out at the top, but have room for the stems to cross at the base. And that's why I leave this flare at the base, a skinny waist, and then a flare towards the top. With a little more shaping from the inside with the throwing stick. Increase that flare at the bottom just a little bit. Little trim and an undercut. This is one of my favorite tools. You can see that. All right, now mop the inside out with water. And now I'm going to start. Oops, more. Okay, now I'm gonna make this into a triangle. So I'll start at the base and press it in, kind of rocking it as I go. Turn it and estimate a third of the way around and push that side in. And now the third side of the triangle. This rib is sort of one of those bigger hammer theories. This is made out of a piece of 2x6 that was just cut corners, and it just is a nice hefty rib, has a lot of gravitas. All right, so now I'm gonna push out with this little piece of bamboo that I have sculpted into a particular shape. And it's my edger. I'll push out from each corner. The tool I'm going to use to push the corners out. And now for the third of the triangle. Dry my hands off a little bit, and I can start to alter it with a little pinch. Pinch. Squeeze. Once you've folded these corners into themselves, they pretty much stay put. And now I'm going to start finishing the base so that it looks just right. Sharpening the corners a little bit. It would be a lot easier to just leave this as a round pot, but as I've said before, a monkey can make a round pot.
I'll use this, one of my favorite tools, another of my favorite tools. It's a very hard, inflexible rib. And with this, I will sharpen this corner. There are a lot of different ways that you could make a triangular vase. One of them, of course, would be to slab build something, assemblage. But I really like the look of a thrown and altered wall. You throw a wall, it has a special characteristic. And you can get this combination of tight and loose, which is so beguiling to me. I think it's the essence of handmade pottery, is tight. Something that is thrown, that is crafted extremely well, but then is handled in a loose manner. It could be said that it was a Japanese or an Asian ethic, particularly Japanese. Japanese are certainly the masters of tight loose. Wabi-sabi. Mui shibui. All right, I'm going to give this another little trim with my favorite little tool here. And then, all right, this is what I call wiggle wire. It's essentially a spring, stainless steel spring, very tightly wound, that is pulled out into a textured coil. It's like the coil of an element of your electric kiln. So I'm going to pull this across and give it a little bit of a turn, back and forth as I go. So here I'm going back and forth and back and forth. And now, with dry hands, I can pick this up and move it and show you what I just did. The bottom of these pots is the most interesting thing I've got going. All right, I made one yesterday that is leather hard, and I'm going to do some finishing on it. All right, I'm going to do a little finishing on the piece before I do the decorating. This is a piece I threw and did the alteration like I just did in the video yesterday, and it's been drying. And I've also done a little bit of finishing. Let me show you how I do that finishing. I have a pastry roller, and I can use that to sharpen these edges and to refine the shape. It's a little bit like using a paddle, but it's a rolling paddle. It's a really useful tool. But sometimes I will use a paddle to do some fine work on the piece. Try to get all of these lines to make sense. I'm very intrigued by this line and then this line. The slight undercut gives it a lift, lifts the edges, makes the whole piece just lift right off the table. I also did a little work on the rim here, also with this same pastry roller. So this is late leather hard. It's still cool to the touch, and I'm going to do my decorating now. A lot of people use underglazes. They buy them in a jar. It's something I've never done. I really don't know anything about underglazes. All those rafts of shelves of underglazes that you can buy, there's really no reason to do that. You can make your own. And that's what I do. I have a whole bunch of different colors, and I'm essentially using a casting slip recipe that is a deflocculated slip, so it's a little extra runny, it has a little less water in it than a traditional right-off slip that you would mix. So it has good fluidity, and then I add a variety of mason stains or sometimes oxides. I use cobalt or chrome, manganese, iron, but some of the more exotic things like this green and this red and this yellow, these are mason stains. And I don't know how to make them. They're made out of inclusion stains, cadmium inclusion stains. And it's beyond my chemistry. But you can make 5 gallons of this for what you could buy a little jar for at the pottery supply store. So let's do a little decorating here. I've got a variety of brushes and add a little bit of water to them to get the fluidity just right. Here's that yellow. You can see how quickly it's drying. So now it's dry enough that I can paint right over the top of it with the next slip. Every time you add a color, you're going to have to wait just a little bit for it to dry or sink in. One of the things I like about using the slips like this is they give you a little transparency. The thicker it is, the less transparent it is, but you can see through this stuff to a certain extent. Just making it up as I go along. So this is just a cobalt added to this slip. See what else I got here. Let's do nice bold black line. Here's a homemade brush. It has a long tail on it. trying to do a decoration that goes all the way around the piece. Uses every side. Of course, you can do whatever you want. This is a white slip, and to get it to be white, I just used some Circle Packs and a zircon opacifier. And needs a little something down here, so we'll find another color. We'll use the red this time, and I'll put a kind of a floral thing going on. And maybe another one. Up here. There we go. It needs a little something else. I need a little more dark blue. Yeah. All right. Now, this will sit and dry, and then it'll get bisqued. And after it's bisqued, I'll come back and do a little more work on it. That's coming up next. So here is the bisqued version of the piece I just finished decorating a few minutes ago. So here it is in its raw state, and here it is after it's been bisqued once. Now I'm going to do some line work over the top of this that will distinguish all these shapes that I had done with the slips. To do that, I'm using a clear glaze, a cone 5, cone 6 clear glaze with mason stains added to it. So it's a little different from the slip that I added here, and it will be show up as a very shiny effect in the finished piece. So here's the black, and I'm using these squeeze bottles with a fine tip, and I'm just going to do a little outlining. A really casual attitude towards the line. Becomes its own thing. I'm letting one design go over the other, and I'm respecting that with the way I do the lines. So it reinforces the sense of depth. This same concept could be used to do any sort of a decoration. What I'm doing is kind of an abstract approach, but you could do something that was quite literal if you wanted to with this. And that outlining with black really it gives such definition that it's almost a trick. to do the outline. And the reason I do it on the bisque is that doing this kind of work over the top of raw material would plug the tip so much so quickly that it wouldn't be effective. But when it's bisque like it is, I can just draw away, and it's a wonderful medium. I'm going to add a few more accent shapes in here, little circles. Divots and dots. And add some color to these too. So there's the red. And this could have been done in the slip too, but this gives me a chance to make some other decisions. Of what I want to do after the fact. Yellow dots. And green dots too. Why not? Looks pretty good. All right, to finish this piece up, I'll glaze the interior with clear glaze on the inside and then spray clear glaze on the outside. So this is the finished version. This is a photo of a piece that I did previously, but it gives you a really good idea exactly what it looks like when it's all done. I hope you've enjoyed this video. Make sure that if you do, like and subscribe. See you around.